Hello everyone, welcome back to JK Reads and welcome back to my highly successful, critically acclaimed series in which I read books inspired by the runways of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 10. This time we're doing bracket 2. We have 6 new girls, 3 new runway themes, 3 new books to read. Let's get into it. The first challenge was a design challenge. They had to create their own look. They called this challenge the 8 Ball, so there's like a funny Coke reference there. But then how they got their materials to make their look is they were each given, or they each got to choose a giant magic 8 ball, and inside of the magic 8 ball were materials to make their look with, and each of those containers had a different selection of items. So they each chose one at random, and then whatever was inside of it, they had to make a look out of that. So they could wear whatever they want, but the joke, what the category is called is 8 Ball. So keep this in mind when I'm choosing my book. But for now, let's look at the looks. The first one is Gorgeous. I like this. This is actually a really generous photo, because it actually makes the look a lot better than it did in the episode. I really love the fabric that she has made this bodice out of, that like floral print. I do not like that she just left it as like a unitard corset. I wish she'd done, brought it down and done something with the bottom instead of just this really sad looking cape. So I really like this from the waist up, but I don't like the rest of it. But this was a good shoe for the look. I like this shoe. Carrie Colby, I liked this more than I think I've seen other people online liking it, and more than my friends have said that they like it. She's done this like braiding technique of the fabric all over the look. And Mistress Isabelle Brooks in the episode said that the braiding of the fabric was wearing her out, and Carrie Colby was the fool for that. I disagree. I think it adds some cool texture. I really like the bra. This isn't braided, but she has 2 different textures going on. Like on one of the boobs, she has like she's created like a rose, sort of. Let's see, like something floral, some sort of floral structure out of the fabric. And then the other one, she's kind of, I don't know what she's done, but it looks cool. I like the bra. And I do like the braided sort of rope skirt. I just don't like what's under it. I don't know how much you're going to be able to see in this picture. I'm zooming in here. But she's just put this unhemmed strip of fabric around her waist to cover what the braided skirt is not covering. And it is this weird sort of coppery, shiny fabric that does not go with the rest of the look, and it's not hemmed, and it just looks like an afterthought. But I like the rest of it. Listen, I can accept the fact that I have the incorrect opinion here, because she was in the top 2 for this, and everyone who I've talked to about this look says that they liked this, and they agree with the placement more or less. I hate this, and it's not entirely her fault. I think pink and green are a good color combination, and I think pink, green, and zebra is a good combination. I think that this specific green is ugly with this pink, and those 2 things together with this zebra just makes it even more garish. I like her makeup. I really like that blush. I hate this wig. I hate the color of this wig. And I hate that the pink and the green just sort of looks like an afterthought to the zebra jumpsuit. Like, she put on the zebra jumpsuit and she said, oh, well, like, she's just put pink in all 4 corners of her body instead of trying to incorporate it throughout the look. And then this green sort of droopy, slouchy sash over her body. And then what is this purse, too? Like, I didn't like this at all. Okay, Mistress Isabelle Brooks, I would have put her in the top 2 over Lydia. It's what Mistress does. It's what Mistress wears. She's not doing anything new, but she's doing a solidly good look here. The mug is always stamped. This hair was right. It's constructed well. This purse is also kind of an afterthought, but I mean, I just think it's more well done and more fully thought out than what Lydia was serving. So let's move on. Okay. Listen, if Nicole Paige Brooks has no more fans, I'm dead. I am forever a Nicole Paige Brooks stan. I always will be. Have been since season 2, 15 years ago. A fun fact about me is I watched the season 2 cast reveal my freshman year of high school, sitting in the library during lunchtime. So I was really never trying to hide the faggotry. So I love Nicole Paige Brooks. We have a long history together in my mind. We have a long parasocial history together. And you can never make me hate her. Is this look hideous? Yeah. But I love it, and she should have won. Okay, and then this look really pisses me off because why the fuck is Tina Burner wearing something this good? I hate Tina Burner. As much as I just said I love Nicole Paige Brooks, that's how much I hate Tina Burner. This look is gorgeous. I hate that this picture doesn't have the coat on it because that coat is beautiful, but even here in this picture, that's the red that you're seeing is the lining of the coat and it looks gorgeous. Those are the sleeves. That furry thing is the sleeves. That was a great coat. The high-waisted pant is well made. She looks good, and it really upsets me. All right, so again, the category was 8-ball. What is that giving besides Coke? Fortune telling. So I am reading The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong, and I'm excited about it. I, in fact, have already read 8 pages of it, but I'm not. I'll save. I'm liking it. I like the writing. And it's funny, and it's sort of giving me Gwen and are Not in Love. That's a book I read in the previous installment of this series. But yeah, 8 pages in, I'm having a good time. Not much else to say, but it's fun. Okay, the next category pisses me off because it's just kind of a stretch. So the theme is Little Shop of Whores is the category. That's the name of the theme. And what it's referencing is Little Shop of Horrors, the movie musical. And in that Little Shop of Horrors, there is a man-eating Venus flytrap. And so what the queens were supposed to wear is a plant-inspired look. So to get from Little Shop of Horrors to plant-inspired look just takes so many steps. And I thought that was really annoying. But let's get into the looks. So first we have Carrie Colby. And listen, I accept having the incorrect opinion here. I get it. Is it grand? Is it dramatic? Is it fit for a stage? Yes. Is it an interesting shape? Like, is it constructed really well? It's giving all of that. And like, people are creaming their jeans over this look. And it's not that I don't get it. Like, objectively, I get all of that. Because what you're not seeing here in this picture is, do you see that in the background behind her, like, backstage? She came out in that. And then that, like, opened up like an oyster. And she walks out, not in this. I don't remember exactly. I think what is like, sort of a train right here was actually, like, over her. And then she ripped, like, after she walked out of the thing that's backstage, the train was, like, over her, and then she ripped it off, and it revealed into a train. And so she had, like, a bunch of reveals going, and all of those reveals happened within her taking 2 steps onto the runway. So it was all sort of overstimulating to me because there's a lot of colors, a lot of textures, a lot of shapes here. And like, even with the shoes, like, look at the shoes, look at the hair, like, it's just so much going on. And I recognize that each piece of that thing is very impressive and beautiful, but all of it together and the way she presented it, literally she comes out in this oyster thing, takes a step out of it, and then takes one more step and rips off the other thing. So she's doing 2 reveals in as many steps, and it was overstimulating to me. So I can't even really appreciate the look. And then on the flip side of being overstimulated, we have this nice minimalist demure look from Georges, and I love it. I think she looks so cute. Is it basic? Yeah. It's just like a corset with these leggings and these gloves, but I think she looks so cute. I think it was great for her, and I really, really, really love the hair. I think she looks precious. Lydia Butthole Collins. Oh, my hair looks crazy. Lydia Butthole Collins. They should not have given her the call for All Stars. I'm sorry. She just had her seat. I'm being a hater. She did fantastic this in All Stars. Like, these 3 episodes she was in, she makes it, she moves on, she makes it into the top 3 of the bracket, she moves on to the next phase of the competition, and she deserved it. She did great. Like, she's talented and all that. But what growth has she really had in terms of, well, since I'm critiquing Runways, let's just say in terms of Runways. This looks like some shit that she would have worn on season 17. It's just the same, like, gimmicky gown that she does. And, like, it's fun, but how many colors of this are we gonna get? Like, I feel like this is just another of everything she wore on season 17. And it's just, I don't think it's at the level of everyone else, unfortunately. It doesn't feel like an all-star look to me. It just doesn't feel like an all-star look to me. It feels like a season 17 look. It feels like a beautiful top 7 placement from season 17. That's what it feels like. Okay, Tina Burner, like, I don't know. That face. My God. I don't know. Like, it's fine. I don't really want to talk about it. Nicole Paige Brooks, NPBFAG, that's Mother. She can do no wrong. She took this off and revealed to, like, a jumpsuit that was supposed to look like the inside of a cactus. Was it ugly? Yeah. Is this, like, a little bit too much going on in the face with, like, the face bikini type thing? Like, yeah, it is. Like, did this need some editing? Sure, but that's Mother and she should win. And then I like this. Some people are saying she looks like Ginger Minge in her All-Star 6 entrance look. And, like, yeah, sure. But it, like, much more elevated, way less slouchy, much more polished, much more tailored. I like the colors. Like, in Ginger's look, that green with that pink was hideous. In this, I like the jewel tone green with this hot pink. I think she looks good. I think people are just being haters. Okay, because despite the title of the category, you know, if I was gonna do Little Shop of Horrors, I would find, like, Debbie Goes to Dallas or something. But, like, I don't have any book like that. But because what the actual brief was to wear a plant-inspired look, I'm gonna go that route, and I am going to read Eat the Ones You Love by this author's name. This is about a woman who takes a job at a flower shop and starts to develop feelings for the owner of the flower shop, who is harboring a sentient plant. I think that's a good description of what's happening. I've started reading this one. I don't know, like 20% through it or something like that. I'll save my feelings about it until we discuss the 3rd book. So let's just move on. But yeah, I'm gonna read and am reading Eat the Ones You Love. Okay, and then the 3rd runway, the theme was Wild Wild West. First we have Georges. I have nothing to say. I, like, actually really was not paying for these runways. A lot of these are going to be the first time I'm really seeing it, because I was not paying attention during this episode. I thought this episode was boring. I thought these runways were boring. I thought the lip sync was boring. I thought this episode was boring, and I thought it was a terrible way to end this bracket, and I'm so sad about it. This look, it's fine. Carrie Colby, like, yeah, she looks good. I like the hair. I think the hat is kind of ugly in this picture anyway. All of these pictures, like, my opinions of them might just be because they're not very flattering pictures, because, like I just said, like, I wasn't really paying attention when I was watching the episode. So I don't, like, have a memory or, like, initial opinions from watching it on the show. Like, so if this is just a bad picture, then it's just a bad picture. But from this picture, like, I think that hat is kind of ugly. I think the entire outfit actually kind of just looks like a cat got to it. I like the hair. Oh, okay. I actually do remember this look, and I was about to give her flowers. But bitch, hang up that wig. Hang the fucking wig up. I'm tired of just the straight black wig from her. And nobody will say anything. Nobody said anything about it. Every other bitch that comes on this runway, if they do not have hair to heaven, Michelle reads the shit out of them. And nobody is saying anything to this bitch about that fucking fried ass straight black hair that does not even go with this outfit. And it pisses me off. So if we chop her head off, I love this look. I love this blue with this cow print. I just think that that is the coolest combination of textiles, of colors. I really love it. The only thing that would make this outfit better was some nice big breasts. I think Lydia needs to wake up putting some titties in. A breastplate, a padded bra, something. I don't know. I'm ready to bring boobs back to drag. Like, let's wake that up. Let's bring boobs back to drag. Okay, yeah, Mistress looks good. Until you zoom into the crotch area and see that wrinkly ass bodysuit. Then she stops looking good. Yeah, it's like classic Mistress. It's like fine. Sure, let's move on. All the comments about Nicole that I already made. Does she look like shit? Yeah. But I love these colors together. She don't look like shit. I don't know why I said that. But like, this is just such a weird, I don't know, this is just so strange. Like, this boot with it too. Like, a completely different pink from the pink she has on. And like, no pantyhose, just fucking bare leg. Like, I don't know. This is Mother. And then Tina Burner, like, let's chop this bitch's head off too. I like don't remember this look at all. Probably because I just heard RuPaul say Tina Burner's name and I just stopped paying attention. But this like looks good. Yeah, sure. She looks good. Okay, so the category is Wild Wild West. And here's the thing. Why would I ever read a Western? Like, I'm not interested in reading a Western. I don't have any Western books in my possession. And like, there is no rule that says I need to be reading books for this that I already own. Like, Eat the Ones You Love. I don't own this. So, but I'm still reading it for this video. Like, there's nothing, I don't have any rules in place that say I need to own the books that I'm choosing here, but it would just be nice if I could read some books that I own and not have to buy something, like take some things off my physical TBR. Like, it'd be nice, but I don't own any Western. The closest thing I have to a Western that I'm gonna choose for this is The Bullet Swallower by Elizabeth Gonzalez James. Now, I say that I don't have any Western, but like, this straight up might be a Western. I don't actually know. Let's just examine the cover first. Like, that's looking pretty Western. Like, it's looking Western, but then it's, I think, marketed as magical realism fantasy, but it's described in the synopsis here as an intergenerational book about racism and colonialism, and we have two separate timelines. One is in 1890s in Mexico. He's described as being good with a gun and drawn to trouble, and that like is like a Western theme. And he's like on a mission to like rob a train with his brother, but then it says here that his brother is killed by Texas Rangers. So like all of that gives Western. And then the second timeline is in the 1960s, and I'm nervous about this one because this one is following Mexico's most renowned actor and singer. And I do not like books about fame. and I don't like books centering music, because though the descriptions and the metaphors and the figurative language that is usually used in stories about music and fame, I just don't connect with. Like, they just don't do anything for me. So I usually don't like books about fame, specifically musicians. So I'm nervous about that, but it says here that he discovers a book that tells his entire history. So The Starless Sea, my favorite book of all time, is about a guy who finds a book, and in the book is a story from his own childhood, but the book looks to be older than he is. So, like, how did that happen? And that's my favorite book of all time. And then that's also kind of giving me A Thousand Times Before by Asha Tonki. And this in this book, this family has a magical tapestry where each person in the family who is stitched into the tapestry gets memories of all the other people in the family who have been stitched into the tapestry. So there's like a magical family storytelling device there, just like this book is. And it says in here that the book tells the story of his entire family, beginning with Cain and Abel. So, like, what's that tea? And it's describing the stakes here as he's the only one who's able to pay for the crimes of his ancestors unless he can discover the true story of his grandfather, the bullet swallower. So there's just so many things I'm interested in. Like, it's described as magical realism. It says in here that some of the conversations that it's having are about border politics, intergenerational trauma, the legacies of racism and colonialism in, like, a Mexican setting. And I'm just always looking for stories that are educational in that way. And there's just so much here that I'm interested in. And it is at least part of this story seemingly to be Western in nature. The only thing I'm worried about is this story about a musician, because I just don't like stories about musicians historically. So, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna give it a shot. I've had this book since January of last year. It's just been sitting on my shelf, and I think it would be a good excuse to get into this one. So that's what we're gonna get up to in this video. We're gonna read The Teller of Small Fortunes. We're gonna read The Bullet Swallower, and we are currently reading Eat the Ones You Love. So let's talk about that. So, like I said, this is about a woman. She gets a job at a flower shop. She starts to have interest in the owner of the flower shop, and the owner of the flower shop is harboring a sentient plant. And let's start with what I'm liking about it. The story is told, the narrator of the story is the plant. The main character's name is Michelle. She goes by Shell, and she's like low point in her life. Like, she's just gone through a divorce. She had to move back home. She lost her graphic design job. Like, she's unemployed. She's divorced. She's in her early 30s. She's living with her parents. And there's a part in it that's talking about, like, everybody else in her life is going through something, either good or bad. Like, either they're having, like, amazing changes in their lives, getting married, having kids, moving, traveling abroad, whatever, like, making big, fantastic moves in their lives, or there's, like, tragic losses in their lives. And she's talking about either one of those, good or bad, would be preferable to just the stagnancy that she is struggling with. And I just think that's such an interesting take, that even you just want something to happen, even if it's terrible, it's better than nothing happening in your life at all. So, like, that's where she's at. And she's walking through the mall one day, and she stumbles across a flower shop, who's run by Nev, is her name, the owner of the flower shop. And she's just Shell is just very taken with the flower shop. Like, there's something haunting about it to her, something that draws her to it. And then she meets Nev, and she's instantly enamored with her and attracted to her. I'm 20% in-ish, and already Shell is like, there's like themes of obsession happening here. Like, she is like obsessed with Nev, and she sees a sign on the flower shop that says "help needed," and that's like is like striking to her, I guess, because she's like, not help wanted, help needed. Like, that implies something. So she goes in and she accepts this job, and she's just happy to have something going on in her life. And because it's the first thing in a while to be something other than stagnancy, she is like obsessed with the whole situation. And Nev gifts Shell a flower that is a piece of this sentient flower that Nev has. And I guess any part of the flower, whether it's actually attached to the larger organism or not, the flower can like see through it and is still like a part of it, such that it can like be in two places at once, I guess. So the entire story is narrated through the plant. And I just think that's such a clever way to be going about this. It's so interesting that this sentient plant that Nev is like keeping, and that Shell doesn't even know is sentient, is like narrating this, and like the plant is making all these observations about Shell and her life and the things that she is doing, that the plant is gleaning to be like obsessive over Nev. But the plant is also obsessed with Nev. Like the plant also has this obsession, and like the plant is talking about their own obsession, and it goes into like the past when Nev had a girlfriend, and like the jealousy that this plant had over the girlfriend. And it's just such an interesting point of view to tell this story in, is like this obsessive plant who is like, I don't know, getting its kicks out of observing people. It's just so interesting. And so I'm really enjoying it for that. But again, at 20% of the way through-ish, I don't really feel like anything has happened much. It's just the plant observing and talking about its obsessive, jealous feelings. And that's kind of it so far. And it's weird that in this book, where the main character's biggest source of struggle is her own stagnancy, that the book is feeling stagnant and feeling like it's kind of not going anywhere or doing anything quite at this moment. So I'm ready for something to happen. It says in the synopsis that this plant is a flesh-eating plant. Like, I'm expecting someone to fucking get eaten at some point in this book. And it's even called Eat the Ones You Love. And Shell has this obsession with Nev, and the plant has this obsession with Nev, and Shell doesn't even know about the plant yet. And so I'm wondering when that's going to happen, and where is the tragedy going to happen? Because it's being alleged that someone's going to get fucking munched. So, and maybe the title's a bait and switch. Maybe the eating in question is Shell eating Nev's pussy. And if that's the direction we go, that's great too. But I just want it to be something. Either Shell's eating Nev's pussy, or the plant is eating Nev and Shell alive, or something like that. Like, one of those things needs to happen, or both of them. Like, if both of those things could happen, then that would make for a very exciting book. But I need something to happen because I'm getting a little bored. So I love the way that the book is narrated. I love the point of view we're getting the story through. I think it's very interesting. I think it's very creative, and I'm enjoying that. But as far as plot and beats and story, I'm getting a little bored. So we need to pick it up. So I'm going to continue probably tomorrow. I'll update you when there's something to update you on. And that's it. Next clip. Listen, I just haven't cared. I just haven't cared. I did finish Eat the Ones You Love. And so today I'm like, okay, I should like update them before I forget everything. But I haven't updated you because I just haven't cared. This book was boring. So in the last clip, I think I said something about I'm ready for something to happen. I'm ready for some sort of eating, some sort of horror, some sort of lesbianism to ramp up, and whatever direction the book needs to go, I needed to start going there. It just didn't. I mean, it just didn't go anywhere. We like ended up following another POV of another character who is like trying to stop the things that are happening with Nev and the plant that she's harboring that is evil. And I just like, well, it's not really her POV. We get letters that she's writing to somebody else where they are in tandem trying to stop. And like, I just didn't, for the longest time, I didn't even know who these characters were. I knew who the one who was writing the letters, it like said from the start who she was. And then the one who was receiving the letters, I guess it said from the start who she was, but I like, she just like, I don't know. I just like didn't get it. I just didn't get it. And it was like just it was just a lot. Like, it was just a lot of different angles that the story was being told from. And then, like I said, the whole thing is narrated from the plant's perspective, which was interesting at first, but the writing became so, like, it's a story about obsession, and so the writing became incredibly obsessive as the book continued, and like it became much more unreliable as the plant started to feel threatened by whatever the fuck that girl's name is. I don't even remember this at this point. It's only been a couple days. But whoever started at the plant shop, whatever her name is, Shell, her. As the plant became more threatened about Shell, like, maybe developing feelings for Nev when, like, the plant is in love with Nev, like, the writing became more unreliable and more obsessive and more like, it's like a stalker. Like, it's like as if a stalker was a plant. Like, that's what the book is about. And there was just so much, every time the plant would talk, which was the entire book, the pontification of whatever the plant was feeling just became so much. And it was like, oh my god, I'm reading about this exact same thought for pages now. Like, whatever the plant was feeling, it was feeling it for pages. And it was like reading the same thing for pages. And it was just so boring. So I'm giving it 2 stars. I'm a little bit further into The Teller's Small Fortunes. It's over there. I'm not going to get it. I'm like a little bit further into that, and I'm having a much better time. I'm like 40-ish pages into that now, and it continues to be as cozy, found family vibes as it was at 8 pages. And I'm having a better time. So I think that's what I'm gonna do today. I said this in a previous video, and I never like came back and corrected myself, but I had mentioned, I don't know what video it was, but I had mentioned before that I had bought some books that I wanted to read because I was being offered a job, a teaching job, a math and science job. And so, like, I got some books that I thought would be good to incorporate into some of my lectures. But then I had said here that I didn't end up taking that job because they weren't going to be offering me enough money. But they have since come back with a better offer, the amount that I was requesting. So I have taken that job, and I'm starting in July. So I've sort of been putting my pleasure reading on hold. And I haven't even been reading any of those books, but I've been creating my lectures. I've been, gathering my materials and preparing, because it starts like in a little over a month now. And last time I had a teaching job, because I was a teacher and then took a break for grad school, and I'm going back to teaching. Last time I had a teaching job, I had no time to plan for lectures. So I was always planning sometimes like the day of, like in my free period, I would be planning my lectures for that day, and it was very, very stressful. And so I want to avoid that. So I have, like, school doesn't start for like 4 or 5 weeks, so I want to have a couple months of lectures prepared so that I'm never trying to prepare anything on the day, because that's incredibly stressful. So I've taken, my pleasure reading has been taking a break because I'm trying to plan for that. But I took the day off from work today, the job that I have right now, before I start teaching. I took the day off today just because I wanted to. And I think I'm gonna just read The Teller of Small Fortunes today. I've been lesson planning all week, or all weekend, I mean. And I think I have like the first 2 weeks of lectures planned at this point. And so I'd like to get a little bit more done today, but I think I also just want to read. So I think I'm just gonna read this Teller of Small Fortunes today. So I'll update you maybe tonight. There was a little mystery a few pages back, and I forgot about it. I'm so glad that it ended that way. That was so nice. What a lovely book. I don't have anything new to say. I mean, it's just pure escapism. It's just like very nice, low stakes. It's magical, it's dreamy, it's just nice. The found family-ness of it all. I mean, we know the tea with a cozy fantasy. Like, it's all gonna work out. You know it's all gonna work out. It's just like a matter of how it all works out. And like, any moment of stress that this book brings up is like just immediately quelled, and like there's a lesson in that. I don't know, it's just like you kind of think that some big, dangerous, grand event is gonna happen, and then it just doesn't, in lieu of like a lesson to be taught, or a feeling to be had, or like a bit of wisdom to be learned. It's just like so nice. Yeah, I don't know, there's just like nothing more to say. I should go back through here and look for every time that I wrote that I was crying and like tab that, and then like just watch the whole thing light up with tabs, because I like cried so many times. Just because it was so like heartwarming and emotional. This is for sure 5 stars. I'm so excited to read this again. There's just something about a book in which people are traveling by horse and carriage. Like, there's just something about being on your horse with your wares in your humble carriage, going from town to town where there are markets and stalls and bakers. Like, there's just something about that vibe that does it for me. And I mentioned the Monk and Robot duology. I mentioned The Alchemist. And like maybe when I wrap up this video, I'll think of other books that I might comp this to. Maybe Gwen and R are not in love, just in the sense that it's like sort of a similar time period-ish. Both of these books by F.T. Lukens, maybe, although these are YA, and I wouldn't call this YA, although like a younger person could read it, like it's not filthy. But probably just like the vocabulary in this one is like geared more adult for sure. But like these are YA. I gave these both 3 stars, although when I like compare them together, like either this needs to be higher or this needs to be lower, because this is just such a much stronger 3-star than this one is. But In Deeper Waters and So This Is Ever After by F.T. Lukens are both like of this vibe. Like it's medieval, it's villages, it's traveling, it's merchants, it's found family. Although this is like more like established, like post found family, but like this like group of adventurers who have come together. And then this one is like found family in the sense that it's like strangers to lovers. But yeah, these, Monk and Robot Duology, The Alchemist, Gwen and R Are Not in Love, these are all books that I would recommend, like that I would put in this category. But the most strongly is the Monk and Robot Duology. Like if you like A Psalm for the Wild Built and A Prayer for the Crown Shy, like this is what you need to be reading next. Anyway, The Bullet Swallower's next. I'll come back with an update. I need to eat dinner now because I've just been sitting here all night finishing this book, and I need to eat something. I haven't eaten all day, so I'm gonna go do that. I started The Bullet Swallower. In fact, I got through to part 2. So I'm 71 pages in, and it was a slow start, but I really am liking it. The prologue is about this guy, Alfredes Antonio Sonoro. He's born with gold in his eyes. And so he's sort of like deified and becomes like the sort of like de facto leader of this community. This is in the early 1800s. So, you know, if someone is born with gold, literal gold in their eyes, like they're the leader now, you know, and people fear him, people love him, people deify him. And he becomes this really, really cruel leader and commits a really horrible act. And that's how the story starts. That's the prologue. And then we're getting into 1895. Antonio Sonoro, the guy from the prologue's offspring, his, you know, kin. And he is the latest in a long line of ruthless men. So he's a train robber, and the POV is shifting between him and Jaime Sonoro in 1964, Antonio Sonoro's grandson, or is it great-grandson? I think it'd be his grandson. And it's shifting between those two POVs, but where I'm at the end of part 1 is Antonio Sonoro has gone on a heist to rob a train, and it's gone wrong. And Jaime Sonoro is an actor and singer, and when I originally talked about this book, I said I was worried because I don't really like books about fame. I'm not having a problem. I don't know where it's going to go, but so far I'm not having a problem with that spin on it, or that perspective, I guess. But he is given a book that tells him his entire family history, and he's reading this book and he's like, oh my god, every single member of my family has done something horrible. Like my family, I'm an offspring of a bunch of monsters. And so that's kind of where we're at the end of part 1. But where it ends really grabbed me. Like this, I was getting through this book really slowly. It was just a little bit slow getting through, but where part 1 ends is someone comes back into the narrative who was in it in the prologue, and this person had I don't know how to describe it. There was an air of mystery about this person, and the way that person was introduced in the prologue was very strange. And then they come back here right at the end of part 1, and it's like, I read that and I was like, okay, I'm in the book. I'm here with you, Elizabeth Gonzalez James. So I'm gonna keep reading it. I'm enjoying it. You know, I'm how many pages? I'm not a third, not quite a third, but, you know, maybe a quarter of the way through, and I'm having a good time. So, I'll let you know how it goes when I continue. I am so annoyed with how this video has turned out, not in terms of what I have been reading, because I'll talk about the bullet swallower here in a second, but save from Eat the Ones You Love, like, I've loved what I've been reading in this vlog, but the behind the scenes thing has been, like, I probably put something on screen when I was talking about The Teller of Small Fortunes, but I lost a lot of that footage. And so I think what got across in the footage that I was able to include was, like, the vibes of it all, the cozy fantasy, the, you know, group of travelers, found family, like, those vibes. Like, if you're into any of the vibes I was talking about in that segment, like, you should definitely pick this up. But what I think I lost in that footage, in the footage that I couldn't include, is how much of a conversation this is about the immigrant experience and trying to make a way for yourself in a part of the world where the majority of the people don't look like you, and feelings of belonging and not having a feeling of belonging and grappling with those things. And there's, like, oh my god, I'm so mad I lost some of that footage, because, like, there's conversations in here about, like, religion and finding kinship in your differences and finding common ground between, you know, different experiences and being able to connect in those things. And I just love this book so much, and I'm so mad that so much that I wanted to say, like, the files were, like, corrupted or something. I don't even know what happened, but I'm not gonna refilm it. So, like, this is what we're getting, and so, like, the vibes came across in that clip that was not corrupted, but, like, there's so much more to this book than just vibes, and I'm, like, really upset. I'm so upset. But, like, please just take my word for it. Like, pick up this fucking book. It's so fucking good. Okay. I finished The Bullet Swallower. I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. It was 4.25, and then I read the author's note. Read the front matter, read the back matter of your books, you guys, because it gives so much context, and that context of this, like, basically being a true story with a little bit of fantasy element added in for spice. I'm just so impressed with this author. This actually ended up being a very good pick for the theme, which was Wild Wild West, because this sort of ended up being a lot more of a Western than I think it comes across in the synopsis, which was, I thought, was, like, totally fine. Antonio's story, which was, like, the Western part, ended up taking up a lot of the space in the book, and then Jaime's storyline sort of took a back seat. And unfortunately, that's the part that I thought was the most interesting, and would probably have given this a book of 5 if I felt like those parts were equal. And then, of course, like, I'm always going to want more of the magical realism element. So if that had been a little bit more present, then I think... I mean, I'm talking like I didn't like this book. Like, I fucking love this book. I don't know why I always feel like I need to apologize when I don't give a book a 5. Like, 4.5 is still an incredible rating, and I thought this was an incredible book, and I don't need to put qualifiers on that. I love this book so much, I actually think it needs to, like, be taught in schools. Like, it needs to replace some of the literature that is currently on syllabi for literature classes. It just has that same sort of Southwest vengeance story, set in the, like, establishment of the 20th century Americas. Like, it's that type of feeling that I feel like a lot of books in, like, high school literature classes have, and this is, like, obviously feels more modern because it, like, just came out last year, and so I think it would stand really strongly on, like, a good English class syllabi. But yeah, I just thought it was fantastic. It says in the author's note, Elizabeth Gonzalez James is, writing about how her process writing this book, and she says, I first started researching The Bullet Swallower in 2015, knowing that it was going to be a difficult task. I wanted to write a magical realism Western about a Mexican bandito and his movie star grandson, despite knowing nothing about magical realism, Westerns, banditos, Mexican movie stars, life along the Texas-Mexico border in 1895, nor life in Mexico City in the 1960s. So, like, she, this came out 9 years, I guess, after she had the idea for it. She is like a wonder, not that I am an expert in any of those things either, but she fooled me at least into thinking that she's a wonderful historian, and clearly she has put a lot of work into researching this book. And it really paid off because it is so, like, it really puts you in the place that puts you in this setting, and it feels very, like, alive in that sense. So all of her research really comes through, and then her writing is incredible. I want to find some things that I underlined. There's one chapter in particular. I'll tell you the chapter right now. Chapter 7, right at the beginning of part 2, was just so incredibly done. The way that she introduces this character that's kind of going to be present throughout the entire novel. The, like, vibe that she surrounds him in this chapter is so successful. So I'll just read a couple. This place was so beautiful that Remedio had to leave after a short time. The gauzy sky and shrouded hills becoming so familiar, they soon stirred him no more than a bowl of weak broth, and Remedio felt the tragedy of letting splendor slide into abstraction. And then in this passage, she's talking about this character's view on, like, men and humanity. And it says, men littered the earth in trickles and hordes, and yet no two were ever the same. Though they might have been born in the same village or even to the same mother, their struggles and desires and wishes and fears were so personal as to make it impossible for Remedio to say for certain what men were and weren't. And he tried. But as soon as he'd form a hypothesis, making up his mind that men were inherently good or bad, or that men could change or not, he'd encounter proof to the contrary and have to start all over again. A single unifying concept of humanity seemed at once so achievable and yet so reductive as to render it immediately false. And then there's another passage that I won't read because it's kind of long, but it's literally just this character talking about, like, the mail system, like, postal mail, and, like, how amazed he is about people's trust in this system, and how men created something that was so efficient that all you have to do is put the postage on, put the address on, and have the trust that it will get there in time. And, like, I know that sounds like nothing, but it's just the way that it's written, like, the observation of that from Elizabeth Gonzalez James is, like, I don't know. I just think that she did a really good job with these sort of subtle observations of humanity and, like, the folly of men, and, like, the success of men. I mean, men is, like, a general, like, humanity. But yeah, I just thought it was great. So despite a little bit of pacing issue, I thought it was great. I'm giving it a 4.5. The Teller of Small Fortunes, I'm giving a 5. Eat the Ones You Love was a zonk. I'm giving it a 2. With all that being said, I want to end this video. I worked overtime today. I worked 10 hours today. I look gross. I feel gross. There's no lighting. The lighting looks like shit, so I'm signing out. Thank you all for watching. Please pick up one of these books. These are both fantastic. Smooches, Smooches, Smooches. RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 10 is flopping. It's falling off, but I will be continuing in this series. So episode 3 coming soon. Goodbye.